ZenFam! So, I was having a rethink of a currently held position that I explained a few videos ago over a couple of different videos. I was having a discussion with a pal of mine, who's not a YouTuber but is still an avid gamer, much as your boy here. And we were taking the member berries and we were remembering various things over the last 3-4 generations of gaming, and especially of PlayStation, because he's a PlayStation owner as well. And I was saying about how I'd come up with this idea that it'd be great if, about having PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 6. And how, it's obviously not cool that we could only rely on the streaming version of PlayStation 3 games to be able to play them through the most expensive tier of PlayStation Plus, i.e. PlayStation Plus Premium. And then it hit me. These games are played on servers. These server blades. Now, I don't know how many locations there are. Is it one location? Is it several locations globally to share the loadout? Who knows? But basically, somewhere there is a warehouse or warehouses with PS3 server blades in them, which are basically just cut down to PS3s without the disk drives and media players and blah 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 blah. They're literally just like the PlayStation 3 gaming gubbins en masse, on location, spitting out games to people. Now, obviously, the major problem with streaming games is your own server for internet. Whatever company you're with, wherever you are on the globe, however much you pay, whatever your download and upload speeds are, matters to what experience you have when you have streaming games. Regardless of platform or whatever it is, if your internet is poop, so will your gaming experience be. So there's not a lot we can do about this. It's all kind of a bit wibbly wobbly. And what's worse still is eventually these server blades will give out. They will break down eventually. Because that's just the kind of thing that happens with electronics. Nothing lasts forever. That's just, a law of the physical world we live in. Nothing lasts forever. End of story. So, if that is being the case, that eventually these server blades will break down and we won't have access to those PS3 games that we're paying for, those of us that are paying for PlayStation Plus Premium, that introduces a problem for which I, Zenbloke, might just have a fix. Yes, indeedy. So, follow me if you will. See, back in the day, when we were moving from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, there was some PlayStation 3 games that had a blue header. Now, some of you might not go what I'm talking about, right? I'll give you an example. Hang on. So, if you have a PlayStation 4, you'll notice that the games all have a blue header. So where the logo is and where the PlayStation 4 text is, you see that bit's blue. Okay? If you have a PlayStation 5 game, you have a white header. Okay? So there were some PS3 games, and PS3 had a different colour. It's a sort of a deep charcoal grey. And sometimes it was a bit silvery, and then of course there was obviously the red ones for the Classics collection and so on and so forth. But basically, PS3 had its colour, PS4 has its colour, PS5 has got its colour. So there's a different colour with each PlayStation of the high def generation. So there was PS3 games that had a blue top. There wasn't many of them, there were some, okay? And what this meant was that you could take this PS3 disc and insert it into your PS4, pay a small one-time fee to Sony, and that PS3 disc would act as a game access key in your system, and the PS3 game, PS4 version of that PS3 game, would be downloaded into your system and only playable, only accessible with that disc in the machine. So the disc became a passkey, much like with the Nintendo Switch 2 games that are coming out that are going to cost you 90 quid that don't even have the game on the cartridge, where basically the cartridge is just a passkey to be able to access the download and play the download. But enough of that another time. So you could have these second-hand PS3 games live again, and it would mean you wouldn't have to have the server blades running 24/7, 365, and ready to give out at a moment's notice. So Sony PlayStation could sit there and go, right, here's the PS3 game up, we'll make it a little bit fancy and that, so it's compatible with PS5 and PS6. Wouldn't have to do that much, I'm sure, because admittedly, I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer, but I'm fairly certain it wouldn't take that much. But if you know better, then obviously speak below. So you have the PS3 disc in your PS5. You have that little bit of payment to Sony. You have your PlayStation Plus Premium account activated, so that then you're able to have the ability to have the software patch, I assume, to stick the disc in, and for it to be able to run PlayStation 3 games. It's obviously be some sort of emulator like PRSS3 or whatever it's called. The one that some hacker groups have done. Get those hacker group boys in, get them to share what they know, give it a bit of the old Sony magic. Bish bash bob, Bob's your uncle. PlayStation 3 games running on PlayStation 4, maybe not 4, but 5 and 6 potentially. Obviously, please, mostly for PS6, because that's the next one coming up, and we're going to need more reasons than ever to buy a PS6, considering it's probably going to be a 700 quid system, especially with the way the global markets are going, and the cost of trying to make a system that's going to actually be amazing and worth it in an ever-escalating tech war and price war, and people wanting to make sure that what they're buying is going to be worth it when they're having to stretch their paychecks even further. You want to be able to justify it, and there's a way to justify the expense of this console coming up, the PS6, for it to have PS3 compatibility. Then I reckon this is the best way to do it. You keep your PlayStation Plus Premium account. You have the access to the software patch that allows it to run these PS3 games, or at least modified versions of PS3 games. The modified version comes down through a download that's only accessible by paying for the PS3 game to be able to have a downloadable version that then allows it to run on PS5 and PS6. And it should be able to be done because the PS5, the PS6, then PS4 and PS3 are all Blu-ray machines. Or at least the PS6 should be a Blu-ray machine, because I personally believe that the PS6 will continue to have a disc drive. Whether it's going to be a two model situation where they're like, you buy one that doesn't have a disc drive and you buy one that does have a disc drive, and if you want to, like the way the PS5 is now with the slim model, you can actually buy a disc drive to snap onto the puppy and turn it into a disc drive having machine. All good, all groovy, fine with that. But I do believe that there will be an ability to play physical games on a PS6. I don't think Sony is quite so ready just yet to drop the idea of it. So with that idea, with having that 10 quid come in for what could potentially be a game you pick up at a car boot sale for £2.50, that Sony's never going to see profit from again, except now, not only do they get the PlayStation Plus Premium Edition membership to make sure that that game can run, but people are also paying that 10 quid to get that game key to happen so they can play the game. And I think, if the second-hand market works right, that then there could be a thriving market again for PlayStation 3 games being sold, maybe even make them again. That'd be fun. Yeah, and there could be all these PS3 games being active on, the 5 and the 6, with just a little bit of Cody jiggery pokery. I think that would be a very positive future, and you wouldn't have to worry about the server blades going down, and you don't have to worry about licenses for music because it's the original game disc from back in the day. So you won't have complaints from people online going, I used to play this game back in the day, and I can't hear the music I used to love on the radio station in this open world game that I love so very, very much because it's a new version and the music's gone. Because it's not a new version. It's the same game. It's the same disc. It's just able, with a little bit of know-how, to actually work. And there's a financial incentive to get it to work for Sony, for PlayStation. I think this is a really good idea. And if you think this is a good idea, then please share this video. And I don't just mean like, you chuck it in an email or show it to your pal. I mean, go to forums and on Blue Sky and on Twitter and all the rest of it. You get out there and you go, excuse me, this guy's got a good idea. Watch this video. And maybe even Sony will see it. Who knows? Life is endless with possibilities. Nah, but yeah. Unless, of course, you think I've gone completely off the deep end, then please, typey down below, let them bloke know. Am I on to a winning idea? Or have I finally rounded the corner into Nutsbarville? But I've done that already many years ago. That's kind of a mute point. Oh god, yeah. So I think we're on to a winner here, and it would do wonders for the retro market because there'll be people out there buying PS3 games, and there'll be people out there playing PS3 games, and we could live those days again. And we could introduce some of the younger ones to some of the games that we got to play back then, and they could actually play them. I mean, Infamous 2, MotorStorm. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The PS3 was filled with loads of really, really, really good games, and some really mental ones. In fact, if anything, this 10 quid downloady thing, it could even revitalize some games that are still on the servers, on the PlayStation Store, on PlayStation's files, that never did get physical releases. But little tiny games like Kung Fu Rider. Oh man, if you never played Kung Fu Rider or Pain, oh my god, getting to play Pain or Kung Fu Rider now, or in a couple of years, when if this goal goes through and it's on PS6 in like 2 to 3 years from now, you're on PS6 and you're playing Kung Fu Rider, that would just be special. I should probably explain Kung Fu Rider, but I don't want to make this video like a zillion hours long and start talking to you and telling you about old PS3 games. Oh man. I just think it'd be really special to be able to haul out these old games and get to play them. And it would mean some of them would be things with PlayStation Move compatible controllers. You maybe have reissue the Move controllers for PS6, so you can play some of the games like the Fight Lights Out or SOCOM or MAG. And then again, you'd probably have to have the servers ready for the onlininess. So I don't know if you could do that. I don't know if Sony would be prepared to splash the cash to revitalize the servers for some of these games. But could that bring back Home? Could Home come back under this measure? I just thought of that now. Could Home come back? Ha Yes, indeedy, neighborito. Bring back Home through this measure. The more I think about this idea, the more I like it. So if you like it, please share this video, comment below, hit that like. And I'm going to say it, I don't normally say this in my videos, but subscribe! I'm currently fast on my way to 1.25k. Maybe even by the end of the year, hit 1.3k. That would be lovely. Obviously, I'd like to be at 2K, but you know, we have to keep a little things. We have to get realistic. It probably won't happen. If it does, I'll be the last one to be complaining. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, guys. Let's get things in order. Let's get this video viewed. Let's get Sony to look at this concept. Have the ability to buy second-hand PS3 physical games. Whack a tenner at Sony. Have that PlayStation Plus premium tier. Have it actually be useful and not subject to the failure of one day the server blades for PS3 games for the streaming capacity to fail. Have those games there, have them playable, give Sony your tenner for each game that you have. Everybody wins. That's a cool future. And I think it would be a killer announcement. Sony brings back real, true PS3 backwards compatibility for the 10th generation. Think about that. And while you're thinking about that, obviously, you hashtag support Scottish YouTubers. And of course, as always, nae bother.